Hi everyone, welcome back to the Domain Podium. This is Ramesh Chuk, and today we are going to complete the previous episode of the interview mock series, DCC Transaction. So let's get started. So Vivek, let's talk about some data elements, ISO data elements. So whenever any issuer receives a transaction, any online transaction, what is the best way for an issuer to identify whether it is a DCC transaction or it is a non-DCC international transaction?
Right. There are, for MasterCard, there is data element 54 that can be used. And data element 43, which is the merchant narrative, has one of the subfields which contains the merchant country. And that can also be used to identify it as a DCC or international.
Okay. And what about Visa? Do you know about Visa also?
I'm not so sure about Visa.
I think it's 126. One of the sub-element of 126 is used to basically for issuer to receive a separate identifier for the DCC transaction. So apart from these data elements, Vivek, is there any other way that an issuer or issuer processor, without using these data elements, whatever you told just now, 43 and 126, issuer can still identify whether it is a DCC transaction?
I'm not very sure.
Okay. So let me give you an answer for this one. Okay. There are three data elements. One is 43, which is the sub-element 3, I guess, which is merchant country code. The other one is data element 49 and data element 51. 49 is transaction currency and 51 is billing currency. So now think about a scenario, someone visiting any other country. Let's take the same example, a card holder who belongs to UAE visiting USA. Okay. So in this case, what will happen? For a DCC based transaction, because the customer is going to select their domestic currency, which is the UAE dirham, okay, upfront at the time of transaction, right? So what will happen in this case? Data element 43 will suggest the issuer this is an international merchant. So issuer can first of all identify this is an international merchant. Then second, issuer will check what is the value of data element 49 and 51. 51 by default should be UAE dirhams because the issuer belongs to UAE. But if the data element 49 also contains a currency code equal to UAE dirham, I think the currency code is 784, means a 43 is 840, which is US merchant country code, and 49 and 51 both, if both are having a value 784, means it is a UAE currency code, then these kind of transactions can be classified as DCC transaction because customer has decided to make a transaction in his own currency, right? Whereas in case of a non-DCC transaction, what will happen? The customer will perform the transaction in USD, in merchant currency, right? So transaction currency also will come as 840. Merchant country code will also be 840, whereas in 51, the data element value 51 will be 784, which is UAE currency code. So in this case, 49 and 51 are not matching. 49 is in the merchant currency code, which is a transaction currency, and 51 is in the billing currency, correct? So in this case, customer has decided to go ahead with the transaction in merchant's own currency, and therefore the value of 49 and 51 are different. So this is another way an issuer can easily identify a DCC or a non-DCC international transaction. So I'll move to the next question, possibly the last question on the DCC. We talked about a couple of benefits that a cardholder gets or a maybe merchant gets or issuer also gets, out of DCC transaction processing, right? So what are the disadvantages? Are there any drawbacks if a customer decide to go ahead with the DCC based transaction?
A lot of issuing banks offer very good loyalty, rewards, cashbacks for overseas foreign transaction spend. If a user chooses to pay in home currency, which is the dynamic currency conversion transaction, DCC transaction, then one has to forego these great rewards, benefits, cashbacks, because it is conducted in the local currency, not in the foreign or the merchant currency.
And what's the reason behind this, Vivek?
Usually, for foreign transactions, there are exchange rates which are involved, as well as exchange rate fluctuation risks. In order to counter these risks, issuing banks apply a kind of a markup, which is called a FX markup or a foreign currency transaction markup. And these are a revenue source for the issuing bank. And often with this new source of revenue, they would like to entice their cardholders to spend more in foreign currency and hence offer some form of rewards, cashbacks, and loyalties.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Vivek. Thanks for your time. I think I'm done with the interview. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.